Make it special. Make it Maloney.
This segment of the Port Jeff Pulse is brought to you by Holistic Body for You, health coaching by Karen Sullivan.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning. Good morning.
I am proud to say we have two completely new guests here with us today on this beautiful February morning. And this guest came to me through a friend and someone who's very well known in town, Ray from Hairport, right?
Yes.
Ray has told me you have an important organization that you represent, and I believe you founded. So tell us about that.
Yes. I founded the World Adhesion Foundation because I was working in the medical profession, and what happened was I had many surgeries. Going back to when I was 13, I had an appendicitis. Then when I was 23, I had a tumor on the tail of the pancreas. So there I lost the spleen, the gallbladder, and the tail of the pancreas. I was fine for 10 years, and then I got my first bowel obstruction. And everything went well, and but the scar tissue kept coming back and making more bowel obstructions and bowel. So like it was bam, 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 like 6 in a row. And then finally, the head of surgery said, "We can't do any more for you," and just blew me off and said, and he says, "Oh, well, you know, you can try John Hopkins," you know. So it was like I was totally thrown away, like a piece of trash. And so I had to do my own research. So I found a person that was had a group for adhesions, and so he referred me to a doctor on Fifth Avenue. So I went and saw him, but unfortunately, the money, he was going to do everything laparoscopic, so he would take the insurance plus an additional money. So I had this done at St. Vincent's, the surgery, and then
the surgery to correct the surgery.
Right, the surgery to correct the,
previous surgeries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So then we ended up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, because that's where the gentleman worked out of.
Okay, there's nothing really great in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Just bad tribute bands.
So anyway, I ended up going in there, and the doctor did the procedure for another additional money, and
it's always about the money, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what happened was he did everything laparoscopic, and I was probably in surgery for about 23 hours.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, and then when I came out, I automatically started feeling fluid on my legs, so I ended up about having 60 pounds on my legs, and then I ended up having to go back in for another surgery because they nicked the bowel. And so finally, that was 2 weeks in ICU, and almost lost my life. They had my parents come fly in because they didn't expect me to survive.
And you were in your 20s at the time?
I was in my 30s.
30s,
yeah.
Okay.
So it was just
horrific.
So I swore that on my deathbed that I would start a nonprofit foundation, and for this disorder. And I did 6 weeks later. After I was able to walk and drive, I went around.
And your purpose and mission, what directly does the organization do? Does it make people that are going through things like you more aware of what could happen, or are you directly involved with getting involved in cases where, things are happening like that?
Well, first of all, the awareness is so major. And then also helping, like Melissa, I had put an ad in the local newspaper, I think it was the Penny Saver, and I said, if you do have problems dealing with adhesions, give me a call. And we've been together for 15 years.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You had a similar experience, Melissa?
Kind of, yeah. Mine started after a C-section.
Okay.
And, I had already had a previous C-section. Everything was fine. And it was directly afterwards that things started to go downhill. The biggest problem that I found was getting diagnosed. It took me over a year to get a diagnosis. I went through more testing than I care to even repeat. And what wound up happening was they wound up doing an exploratory laparoscopic surgery. And they woke me up and told me that they'd have to come back and do it again because I was so filled with scarring that they weren't able to
that they
complete
just
the surgery.
were like, they were like, oh my God, look what we just found, kind of a thing.
Well, long story short, after many, many surgeries and a lot of bowel obstructions, I wound up with a hysterectomy at 27. And I found Gus through a doctor who had read her ad. And he was actually, I had been trying all different kinds. I've been going to physical therapy, and I went to a chiropractor, and I tried all the holistic stuff first. And he said, well, I've never heard of this before. And then about a week later, he called me up. He said, look, I found this ad in the paper about this woman, so I went and I met her. And I talked to her, and I wanted to give you her phone number and her contact information. And at first, I was like, I don't know if I really want to talk to anybody about this because I'd had such a hard time first getting diagnosed and then getting anyone to believe me because they wound up telling me more than 2 or 3 doctors told me it was all in my mind, which I couldn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I make myself sick? That's crazy.
Right.
And it actually took me going to a psychiatrist. And I sat down with the psychiatrist and I said, look, they said this is all in my mind. And if that's the truth, then I'm crazy and I need help. Because why would I want that?
Right. So you were seeking help on all levels.
I went to neurologists and I went to a hematologist. They tested me for everything from Lyme disease to multiple sclerosis.
Leaving no stone unturned.
They couldn't find anything. Right. They just kept saying, all your tests are coming back normal. It's in your mind.
It's crazy.
It was scary.
What is the thing are doctors doing something wrong?
No.
Or is it certain bodies are reacting to something that other bodies wouldn't?
Okay. The easiest way for me to explain it is the physicians are only being taught about a paragraph about what adhesions are. That's all.
Okay.
So adhesions are very thin. Think of Spider-Man. When you go like that, and the web comes out, and that's exactly what happens when you have this. When we have our surgery, the adhesions start to grow within the first 24 to 38 hours, and then what happens is these adhesions get thicker and thicker,
like this fibrous tissue,
right? And then they get
I experienced this. I had a
they get nerve endings and blood supply.
And what they do is they will attach between your abdominal wall and other organs or to your intestines, and they'll kink them up and
if someone has an overproduction, right, of adhesions, that could happen anywhere that you've had a surgery. Correct.
Actually, it can happen if you have an injury as well.
Let me understand this.
Okay.
Is this where the 2 pieces of skin from surgery would meet? Or can it be?
No, like you would. Let's say you did a bowel surgery and you had an anastomosis, where you put it together. Adhesion are kind of white blood cells. They go all over the place, and then they decide to adhere to something.
So we're not necessarily talking about the scar incision point.
No, this is internal.
Gotcha.
There's some degree of scarring that's natural and normal, and it's supposed to happen because that's how the body heals. The problem is some people, for some reason, you and I could have the same surgery by the same doctor,
that's my question,
same
right?
situations. You could come out of the surgery without any problem at all, and I could go in for 20 more surgeries to keep releasing my bowels from. There's no rhyme or reason why some people develop them and they just don't stop growing.
So both of you are susceptible to this adhesion aspect. So you find Gus, that's your nickname, right, Gus? I just learned that. You find Gus, you're able to compare your history and your experiences.
Yes.
And again, when you join the organization,
yes,
and you exist to bring awareness, but what therapy and or solutions would you offer somebody? Let's say you found somebody that called you through your organization today. First of all, they would feel like I'm not crazy, like you did.
Yes.
That this does, so that's good.
And I get calls from all over the world.
Do you?
I get them from England, Scotland, as far away as Australia, you know. So, yeah. And most of these people are looking for help and
support or help.
Help. Some just want mental support.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Right.
And then the others want funding, you know, but which I can't do.
Yeah.
So I'm
Right.
small.
But are you a catalyst for getting people? If somebody called you from California, you're here in Port Jeff. You live in Port, right?
Yep.
Excellent. So, I mean, if somebody called from California, oh my God, thank goodness an organization like yours exists, because I thought I was crazy. Thank you. What are you referring them on to somebody locally, or are you offering direct services via the site, via the phone?
I speak to them, let's say, again, this person calls. I would help them quiet them down, you know, let them know that they're not, everything is fine, they're not going to die, you know, or things like that. And just sometimes what I'll do is I'll call one of the university and ask one of the doctors if they know of a friend that works in the area.
Right.
Gotcha.
So
you can be a catalyst for
Right.
that.
That way.
Now, your website's up in the back. Are you funded by donations?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that and how that might help more people in the future.
If you go to Facebook, we have a lot more information on there daily.
Okay.
And you can go on there and click and donate whatever you'd like.
Okay. And so you're 501(c), right?
Yes.
So this is a nonprofit corporation.
Yes.
And both of you are sort of managing that, right?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
And through those donations, tell me about what what are the goals for the future of this as things get?
Right now, I'm working with Stony Brook University, and I had a meeting with the CEO about maybe 3-4 months ago.
I got to give you a lot of credit for that itself. I've been trying to meet with the CEO. I cannot do it, so that's excellent.
So I've met with him very nice twice, and so he's helping me by giving me a room that I can go to and do a meeting for our group.
And do it like a support group.
Right.
Meeting.
And also
Okay.
and also for our board meetings and things.
Right.
And then the other thing is he's going to be letting me help the young students that are just coming in and teaching them how to deal with an adhesion patient. You know, because we're different, we're difficult,
Yeah, for sure.
you know,
Right.
and so we're an enigma, you know, at first.
Right.
So
Yeah, right. No, that's what we're doing. We're discovering
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want the Village of Port Jefferson, some of the people that watch this show, to know about the organization or how they can help, or
Yeah, any
maybe
upcoming
somebody?
Events? You have any events coming up?
that's
Fundraising events?
that's the thing. We're not good at the fundraising.
Okay, so
Okay.
I get it now that
Draw them to
that's
the
part of
Facebook
what we do
page.
here is we bring attention,
Yeah.
and who knows?
Yeah.
we have people with a lot of money watching this show, whether you know it or not. No, I'm serious. So
Well, the dream is a research
Research center.
where a person who suffers from this affliction could go and get whole body and mind care. We are so much more than our disorders.
Right.
There's so much. It's such a complex problem, and it doesn't just affect the person; it affects their entire family.
And it hits the family. You know, the kids they get hit by saying, "Mommy can't go to the event because she's hurting too much." You know, or even
Mom went septic and is having a seizure on the floor. You know?
Yeah,
right,
severe as that.
or even
Right.
even with your husband being intimate is difficult.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
so
Nobody wants
Right.
to make whoopee when they don't feel good.
There's just so much that isn't being done. it's something that nobody discusses.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have to be honest. First, I don't know about you, but
Hadn't heard of it.
First, but it makes sense to me,
Right.
and I'm going to read up on it,
Right.
and we want the people watching to read up on it and be aware of it. That's the reason
Right.
you're on.
That's right.
But I mean, you're living proof. You both went through it. You found each other.
Right.
You've been able to compare experiences,
and help each other.
which must have been
And
amazing,
help
by the
each
way.
other.
It was. What a relief after over a year of one trying to figure out what was wrong,
going on, right.
and then two, when going back many years, when I had to go to a library to look up information on the computer, and I look up adhesions, and all I can find is glue.
Exactly. Glue.
Glue.
Adhesives.
Oh
Glue,
my
tape.
goodness.
I'm like, this is not helping. I didn't know anybody else who had this, never heard of it before. In fact, when I signed the paper of all the horrible things that can happen to you if you consent to the surgery, this wasn't on
there. So we would like to have
That's-
a
It goes
consent
into the
form.
list of complications of surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, if you were to die from this, from bowel obstruction,
Right.
it
Well,
wouldn't be
actually, when
listed
you
as
have a heart
adhesions.
attack, that's scar tissue.
Right. I've always heard that word scar tissue because my mom went through early surgeries when she was
Okay.
younger. Scar
Right.
tissue, and
Right.
problematic. I never really understood, so I have to ask her. She'd probably be very interested in this. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
well,
we want to
thank
bring
you.
awareness to it. This
Thank
is the
you so
first
much.
step.
And if anybody out there
yeah.
is suffering,
Suffering,
or
please.
knows someone who is,
Right.
please
Right.
check out the website.
Yep.
give
And
What's
Augusta a
what
call.
you guys are on Facebook? Is it World Adhesion
Foundation.
Foundation?
World Adhesion
Okay.
Foundation. Yep. And-
Don't
give up.
We don't give up, and we both felt like we were the only humans on Earth that had this problem.
Wow.
That's
What
how
an
deep
enlightenment.
That's how
you.
deep it goes.
Absolutely. Well, feel good.
Okay.
I love what you're wearing there.
Thank
It's
you.
fantastic.
Gorgeous.
Very, very nice. Thank you. Nice meeting you both, Melissa
Wonderful
and
to meet you.
Gus.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
It's been an honor.